In 1972, a British engineer set out to build a speaker so clear it would challenge what even experts thought possible. The result, monitor audio, earned global praise for lifelike sound and technologies no rival dared attempt. But beneath the legend lies a pivotal moment. A tiny Cambridge workshop, a single craftsman, and a manufacturing gamble that changed hi-fi history. How did this decision shape the speakers audiophiles swear by today? In a cramped Cambridge workshop in 1972, Mo Iqbal worked alone, piecing together the first monitor audio speaker by hand. He called it the MA1. Every component was chosen for accuracy, not flash. It used a KEF bass driver, an isophone tweeter, and a cabinet built for silence. Early reviews praised the result as astonishingly clear, a sound that seemed to lift the haze from familiar records. Word spread quickly among local hi-fi enthusiasts. Orders outpaced what one man could build. Soon Iqbal faced a decision: stay small or find a way to meet the growing demand for this new standard of British clarity. By 1976, monitor audio had outgrown its Cambridge roots. Production moved to Rayleigh, Essex, where the company took control of every step. Cabinet construction, driver assembly, and final testing all happened under one roof. This decision meant tighter quality checks and fewer compromises, long before automation or outsourcing became industry norms. With full in-house manufacturing, materials and tolerances could be managed directly, ensuring that each speaker delivered the clarity and precision customers expected. The Rayleigh factory became the backbone for monitor audio's future breakthroughs, giving engineers the freedom to experiment with new materials and processes without relying on outside suppliers. A sheet of aluminum-magnesium alloy, just fractions of a millimeter thick, sits at the heart of monitor audio's most important breakthrough. This is CCAM, ceramic-coated aluminum and magnesium, a material first adapted from aerospace engineering, where low weight and high rigidity can mean the difference between success and failure. In a loudspeaker, rigidity is not just a technical detail, it is the line between music that rings true and music that blurs under pressure. Traditional paper or plastic cones flex as they move, creating unwanted resonances known as breakup modes. These distortions color the sound, masking the tiny details that audiophiles crave. CCAM's ceramic layer hardens the alloy, raising the threshold at which the cone flexes. The result is a driver that moves like a piston, translating electrical signals into air movement with far less distortion. Engineers at Rayleigh did not stop at materials. They studied the geometry of the cone itself, running simulations to identify weak points. The answer came in the form of RST, rigid surface technology, a pattern of tiny hexagonal dimples pressed into the cone. This origami-inspired texture strengthens the metal, allowing it to be even thinner and lighter without losing stiffness. Charles Manette from the R&D team put it plainly, the goal was always to make the cone disappear, so you only hear the music. Stiffness to mass ratio, modal control, and surface patterning all work together, not for the sake of novelty, but to reveal the full truth of a recording. For listeners, that means hearing every nuance, every transient as the artist intended. A thin sheet of folded foil sits at the center of monitor audio's most advanced tweeter designs. This is the micro-pleated diaphragm, or MPD. The technology looks nothing like a traditional dome. Instead of vibrating as a single surface, the MPD's pleated structure expands and contracts, moving air in a way that is both faster and more controlled. Each pleat acts like a miniature bellows, squeezing and releasing air with far less mass than a dome. The result is a diaphragm that weighs almost nothing, yet covers a much greater surface area, 8 times the surface area of a standard dome tweeter. This design pushes high-frequency response far beyond the range of human hearing, with some models measuring clean output past 40 kHz. But the real benefit is not just about numbers. By lowering the moving mass and spreading motion across dozens of pleats, the MPD reduces distortion at the upper edge of hearing, a region where conventional domes struggle. Cymbals, strings, and the subtle shimmer of a jazz ride all retain their natural texture, free from the harshness or glare that can plague metal domes pushed to their limits. Engineers at Rayleigh turned to pleated mechanics after years of experimenting with dome shapes and coatings. The MPD's accordion-like motion means it can accelerate and stop almost instantly, tracking the finest details in a recording. For listeners, this translates to an airy, open top end, one that reveals space and nuance without exaggeration. The technology stands apart from the CCAM cones below, finishing the sonic picture with a sense of effortless extension. a bookshelf speaker perched on a desk in a small study, a pair of floor standers anchoring a living room, and a towering flagship set in a dedicated listening space, Monitor Audio's range is built to meet real-world needs, not just fill out a catalog. The Bronze series serves as the entry point, designed for smaller rooms where space is at a premium. Compact cabinets and efficient drivers deliver lively, detailed sound, making them a favorite for bedrooms, studies, and modest apartments. With a sensitivity around 88 decibels and an easygoing 8-ohm load, Bronze pairs well with most integrated amplifiers, even those with modest power. Stepping up, the Silver series finds its place in larger living rooms and home cinema setups. These speakers offer more refinement, deeper bass, and greater dynamic range thanks to larger C-cam drivers and advanced cabinet bracing. Silver models are often matched with quality Class A/B amplifiers, typically in the 80 to 200 watts range, to bring out their full potential. Whether it's a stereo system for vinyl or a surround sound array for movies, Silver bridges the gap between everyday use and serious listening. Gold and Platinum models are reserved for the most ambitious systems. Gold's MPD tweeters and RDT2 woofers demand high current amplification and reward careful placement in dedicated 2-channel racks or acoustically treated rooms. Platinum at the top is reference grade, built for listeners who want every nuance exposed, often in rooms designed specifically for critical listening. Each step up the ladder isn't just about price, but about matching speaker capability to room size, amplifier quality, and the listener's own priorities. A jazz trio fills the room, piano notes ring out, each keystroke crisp, with cymbals shimmering in the upper registers. Monitor Audio's reputation for clarity is not just a matter of taste, it is reflected in the numbers. Measurement microphones capture the output, and a graph plots total harmonic distortion, THD, across the frequency range. Bronze series models, for example, keep THD below 0.5% at 1 kHz, even as volume rises. This means the notes stay clean, without the fuzz or haze that can creep in with lesser drivers. A sweep of white noise reveals the frequency extension, with Silver and Gold models delivering flat response from 35 Hz up to 35,000 Hz, even 50,000 Hz in the Gold series MPD tweeter. That is well past the limits of human hearing, but it matters for the overtones that give instruments their air and presence. On orchestral recordings, the violins do not just sound bright, they carry a sense of space, the kind that is hard to fake with equalization. Overlaying these graphs with live listening clips, the connection becomes clear. The graph's smooth curves match the effortless detail in playback. Brass swells, deep bass plucks, and the delicate decay of a snare drum all land with precision. The measurements do not just confirm what audiophiles claim, they explain why Monitor Audio's sound is both revealing and natural, track after track. A pair of speakers stands behind a curtain, level matched and wired to a switch box. Listeners sit quietly, eyes closed, as tracks from Miles Davis and Norah Jones alternate between two models, one Monitor Audio and one Arrival. Across multiple rounds, the preference for Monitor Audio's detail and balance holds, even when listeners do not know which is which. The difference is not always night and day, but clarity in the mids and a sense of space in the highs consistently draw praise. For those setting up at home, placement matters as much as pedigree. Toe-in angles between 10 and 30 degrees sharpen the stereo image, while keeping the speakers at least 18 inches from the nearest wall tightens the bass. Subwoofers integrate best with an 80 to 100 Hz crossover, avoiding muddiness in the lower mid-range. Amplifiers should be chosen with care, especially for Silver, Gold, or Platinum series. Some models dip below 4 ohms, so a high current amplifier is essential to avoid thinness at higher volumes. Measurement expert Michael Hedges puts it simply: start with the room, not just the specs. A great speaker cannot fix a bad setup. The right match between speaker, amplifier, and space is what lets Monitor Audio's engineering shine. Monitor Audio's pursuit of sonic precision still shapes what listeners expect from every speaker, at every price point. As digital music evolves and streaming dominates, the demand for authentic sound grows louder. The real test now isn't technology, it's whether we're still listening closely enough. Share your thoughts below.